mind though, boys. Yeah! Good on you, Thomas Burgess! Good on you, Tommy! South Sydney! Yes! Yes! Go! Yes! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! Go! Go! Yes! 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 Go! Yeah! Yeah! Good on you, Joy! Let's go, boys! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! Go! Go! Yes! Yes! Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the YouTube channel Cody's Footy World, and welcome back to yet another NRL live stream, and welcome back to another NRL tipping video. My name is Cody. Hope you guys are doing very well on this very lovely Tuesday afternoon. Teamless Tuesday, and I'm back with you to give you my round 17 NRL tips of the 2025 season. This round, we have a full set round of fixtures coming up this week, 8 games. And then we'll go through one more Origin effective round, which will be next week. And thank goodness it'll be over and done with within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And we can finally concentrate on the final stretch of the bloody season. It's gone so fast, yet it doesn't feel like it's gone that this quick. But that's what it is for each year. But anyways, guys, hope you're doing very well. Now, last week in round 16, not really the best with the tips. I only managed to get 3 out of 7 tips last week. Not the best. Didn't get any of the Saturday games correct. Was really close with 2 of them. And I got 2 out of 3 Sunday games, and I got the only Friday game, which that was interesting. But anyways, guys, before we get into the round 17 tips, if you guys are new around here, don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and don't forget to as well comment down in the live chat, or if you're watching this after there's a video, comment down below in the comment section below of what your tips are for the round 17 of the 2025 season. And also, you guys might have noticed why I'm wearing a beanie for the round 17. It is beanie for brain cancer round, where the NRL with the Marquis Foundation supports all the people who go through all this trauma, which is really unfortunate. So all donations that go through with this will go towards the Marquis Foundation and treating for better treatment and technology as we develop into better terminology and all that. So I don't know the basics of the stuff, but this round is known for beanie for brain cancer round, which has been happening for close to a decade now with the NRL, and it's always a special occasion. So if you haven't gotten one of these yet, make sure you go get one of these. I think it's like about $20 for $25. There'll be 8 at each of the games this week. So if you're attending an NRL game, make sure you go get one. I got this from, I think it was round 18 when we played Parramatta last year. I believe that's what the round was, and I think it's pretty good, and it's very comfortable as well. And to support the Marquis Foundation and those who have brain cancer, which is really unfortunate. But if you guys haven't yet, make sure you go buy a beanie as well. All the purchases go towards the Marquis Foundation. But anyways, guys, with that out of the way, let's get into the round 17 NRL tips. And our first game kicks off on Thursday night. We have a blockbuster game and a test here for our current competition leaders. We have the Penrith Panthers, who are back in the top 8 after being last for the last few weeks, or who were in the last couple of weeks ago, against the first place Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Now, the Panthers last week, Panthers had a C-string side. They beat the Warriors over in New Zealand, 28-18, in which no one expected them to win, but gee whiz, they really put a game on against the Warriors. And as for the Bulldogs, coming off their third and final bye of the year. The week before, back in round 15, beating my boys in a close game 24-18. And this is going to be arguably the toughest game to tip for round 17, in my opinion. And looking at the team list, it speaks volume. But let's go through the team list for both, shall we? And another thing I'll point out as well, I will say the ref for each of the games as well. So that's something that a few people have requested. So I will announce only the ref that's officiating, not the bunkers. Greg Atkins is the ref for this game. Now let's go for the team list. Panthers first up, and this game's at Combank Stadium as well, I should point out. Isaiah Cleary, Brian Toto, Lee Mutton, Dylan Evans all back on deck after being rested last week. Scott Sorensen has been suspended, while Paul Olamoni, Dane Laurie, Matt Hyson Youth, and Trent Liero all make way for the Origin returnees. Brad Snyder and Luke Garner go to the bench after starting against the Warriors. As for the Bulldogs, Stephen Crichton, Max King, Kurt Mann, and Matt Burton are all back on deck after missing the win over South on Blues duty. Jacob Crass slides into the wing. Lachlan Galvin reverts to the bench, while Kurt Moran goes to 18th man. Blake Taff, Jake Turpin, and Blake Wilson drop out. This is going to be a very fantastic game, and this puts to the test where the Dogs are for 2025. Even though they've been on top of the ladder for the majority of the season, playing against the four Pete champions who are currently on a run and back in the top 8 for the first time in a while. This will be really interesting. But for this game, I'm going to back the Dogs in this one. Bulldogs to win by 6. We will go a scoreline of 22-16. First try scorer comes from the Panthers, however. First try scorer, let's go Brian Toto. Anytime try scorers will go Isaiah Popoli, and we'll also go Montoya to score for the Bulldogs. So Bulldogs to win the first game, open up round 17, 1-12. Now we move into our 2 Friday games. First one kicking off at 6 p.m. from 4 Pines Park. We have the Manly Sea Eagles playing against the 14th place West Tigers, and I think Manly are currently in 10th at the moment. And the referee for this game is Gerald Sutton. Now, last week, the Tigers falling short to the Raiders, 16 points to 12. Tigers only scoring the 1 try in the second half, but they put a really good defensive display against the Raiders, only conceding 16 points. Really good display, but unfortunately they fell a bit too short. Now they've lost 5 in a row games. Now it's for Manly. Well, they had the bye last week, their second bye of the season, and the week before they lost to the Titans at Seabus, 28 points to 8. And there's been a lot of behind-the-scenes discussions happening with Seabolt and a few of the Manly players, but I'm not going to get into that. We all pretty much know what's happening behind the scenes with Manly. But anyways, let's go through the team list. So for Manly, Tom Trbojevic moves into the centres, and Lehigh Hopewade will play a fullback in a major regional switch. Before I go on, the last time Turbo played in the centres for Manly, it didn't go down well. That's all I'm going to say. Michael Kalatu has unfortunately suffered a shoulder injury, which brings Corey Waddell into the starting side, while Matt Lodge is back in the pack. Jazz Tabunga starts at hooker. Jake Sipkin joins the bench with Lachlan Croker in the concussion protocols after suffering a head knock on Tuesday at training. Heath Mason takes over fullback for Jerome Buller, who faces a lengthy time of a hamstring injury. Jerome Luai returns to 5'8", and Latu Fanu is the new halfback. Interesting, and Tony Solkar has been promoted to the bench. Now, both teams are really desperate for a win. Manly have been all sorts since they beat the Broncos a couple of weeks ago. And as for the Tigers, results haven't been going their way, but they've been doing a bit better compared to where they were last year. So this is a must-win for either team, and I could see this game going either way, despite the Tigers' poor record against Manly up at 4 Pines Park recently. But for this game, I'm going to go the underdogs here. I'm going to take a risk here. Now, I haven't backed the Tigers for a bit, but I'm going to take the Tigers in this one. Tigers to win 1-12. The Tigers win by 4, 18-14 scoreline. First try scorer comes from Manly. We'll go Lehigh Hopewade to score first. Anytime try scorers, we will go Reuben Garrick. And for the Tigers, let's go Heath Mason to score at fullback. So Tigers to win for the first Friday game, 1-12. Now we move into our second And final Friday night game, kicking off at 8 p.m. from McDonald Jones Stadium up at Broadmeadow. Up there, we have the Newcastle Knights playing against the Canberra Raiders. Last week, the Raiders managed to hold on against the West Tigers and win 16-12 at Campbelltown Sports Stadium. And as for the Knights, beating the Dolphins and beating a team that they should have lost. They should be doing shit, but somehow they keep winning. And they won 26 points to 20 over there at HBF Park in Perth last week. And the ref for this one is Chris Butler. Let's go through the team list for both of the teams. So for the Knights first, Jackson Hastings returns into the halves after Fletcher Schaff has ruptured his spleen and lacerated his kidney last week. Ooh, bit nasty there. Jacob Saifidi returns for his first game to Sprout 11, pushing Matt Crocker to the bench. Greg Marsu and Jack Henrington are listed among the reserves as they return from injury. That's for the Raiders. Only one change here. Simba Sasagali comes to the starting side in place of Hudson Young, who has been rested. Noah Martin is the new face on the bench. For this game, I'm going to back the Raiders. I don't trust the Knights. I think they're still. I think they'll still get one of the. I think they will still get one of the wooden spoon places. So we will go Raiders to win 13 plus. Raiders to win by 18. First try scorer comes from K.A. Weeks. And anytime try scorer, let's go Jet Stewart. He scored on debut last week. And we'll also go Dane Gagai. And I should point out, it's Peter Guff, the referee for this game, not Chris Butler. He's up there in the bunker. And we'll talk about Peter Goff in just a moment when we get to the Rabbitohs game. But let's get to our Super Saturday games. First one kicking off at 3 p.m. Two games happening from Suncorp Stadium on Saturday. Technically a doubleheader, but not really. The first game from Suncorp kicking off at 3 p.m. on Saturday is the Brisbane Broncos against the New Zealand Warriors. Last week, the Broncos coming back against the Sharks to win 34-28, down by 16 points. And as for the Warriors, well, you lost to a six-string Penrith side, 28-18 Mount Smart last week. How embarrassing. So could this mean that the Warriors are pretenders? I don't think so, but they should have won last week, honestly. And the ref for this one is Adam G. Now let's go through the team list for both games. With the Broncos, none of them have changed. Colbo has been listed among the reserves as he chases for his first appearance round 13. And for the Warriors, DWZ's a major loss. So Edward Coast comes into the side while Rocco Berry's back from a hamstring injury in the centres. Kurt Capewell returns after being rested last week. So Lakia Hallis Salamina goes to the bench and Tanner Stoner Smith goes to 18th man. This game is going to be another tough one to pick. Go with the Broncos. They've been on a roll since they've lost 4 in a row. And the Warriors, they lost to a C-string Penrith side. And the Warriors' record against Broncos at Suncorp hasn't been the best. They have not won at Suncorp against the Broncos since 2018. But for this one, despite the stats, stats against them, I will back the Broncos in this one. Broncos to win by 4. We will go 20 points to 16 scoreline. First try scorer goes to, let's go Walsh to score first. Anytime try scorers, we will go Jesse Arthurs and we'll also go Roger Tuivasa-Sheck to score. So Broncos to win in a close game, 1-12. Now we move into our second Super Saturday fixture, and I know I've got the wrong team down there, but that's my apologies, guys. I've got the wrong team versing the Dragons. We have kicking off from Wynn Stadium at 5:30 p.m. We have the Dragons tagging on the Parramatta Eels. Last week, the Dragons coming off a bye last week, and the week before they lost to the Sharks. They led 18-6, and they collapsed and lost 30 points to 18. That's Parramatta. Without Moses, without Dylan Brown, they did very good against the Titans, winning 36-20 at CommBank Stadium. Titans remain winless at CommBank Stadium, as we hear. And the referee for this game is Liam Kennedy. And let's go through the team list for both. Corey Allen, Christian Tupolatu returned from hamstring injuries, while Val Holmes was also back on deck after missing last week due to origin duty. James Sewer has been named to return, while Yami Fafita comes to his first game of 2025 on the bench, with Loco Pacifica Tonga making way. Dylan Brown returns from suspension, which sees Jose Pupley revert to the bench. Jordan Semirani joins the starting side at centre, with Will Pennisini serving a 3-game suspension. Pupley feels the bench spot vacated by Riley Smith, who has been suspended for 2 games. So quite a few changes there for Para. For this game could really go either way as well. This is also the first time the Dragons have hosted a home game against the Eels since 2019. So every game between 2020 and their most recent game this year as well. 6 straight games have been a Parramatta home game. Dragons finally get a home game against Parramatta. And this is the Eels' first time at win stadium, I believe, since 2018 or 17. It's one of them years. But for this game, despite Eels' great win last week, I will back the Dragons in this one. Dragons have been up and down this year, but I can definitely see the Dragons winning this one. Dragons to win in a close game. Dragons to win by 4. Scoreline, we will go 30 points to 26. So I reckon a high scoring game between the two. First try scorer comes from Parramatta, though. We will see Josh Adokar score first. Anytime try scorers, we will go, I reckon, Damien Cook from the Dragons, and we'll also go Zach Lomax to score for the Eels. And I think Gufferson will go over as well to score against his former club as well. That would be very funny to watch. And yeah, so Dragons to win in this one, 1-12. And now we move into our final Super Saturday game, kicking off from 7:50 p.m., not 7:35 p.m. Now we'll explain that in just a moment. We have the Dolphins, who lost to the Knights last week, shockingly 26-20 over there in Perth. So they're 0-3 over there in Perth. And they're taking on my boys, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, who've lost 4 in a row now. And we're sitting 16th where we finished last year. Yeah, so stupid. But I'll start with the Dolphins first. Like I said, Dolphins lost to the Knights 26-20 over there HBF last week. They should have won the bloody game. But unfortunately, Jack Bostock has suffered a season-ending ACL injury, so he's out for this game and for the rest of the season. All the best to him. Really, one of the best players for the Dolphins. Really unfortunate that he suffered an ACL last week. As for my boys, if you guys had seen my vlog, you know how I was about this game. But if you guys haven't yet, all I'm going to say is we were robbed in the game against the Storm last week. There was a certain penalty called at Peter Goff, who officiated our game, should have called a high shot on Sean Keppie. He was hit by Harry Grant and Cameron Munster, or one of them, and it was hit high on the throat and on the chin as well. Should have been a clear penalty, but he didn't play on, and as of that result, we lost to the Storm 25-24. And I know, yes, people can say like we weren't robbed. I can agree with that as well, but I reckon we were robbed, and the goal kicking did cost us the game as well last week. But just to put it this way, I was really pissed about last week's result, but we move on anyway. And let's go through. Before we go through the team list, I should point out as well. Now, this game was originally meant to be down in Sydney at Accor Stadium. However, because of the home and away fixtures switched in round 1 due to Cyclone Alfred that struck Brisbane after the game had concluded, or that was going to happen, the game got moved from Suncorp to Combank. So luckily we were playing each other twice. So we swapped home and away games. So we're playing up at Suncorp for this one. We were meant to be round 1, but it swapped. So at least the Dolphins get to enjoy a home game against us up at Suncorp. And I'm very glad that this game is playing at Suncorp. So technically it's a home double header for Saturday, but the first game finishes at 5, and then the next game kicks off at 7:50. They have to get everyone out of that stadium to set up for the Dolphins Rabbitohs game after the Broncos Warriors game. But this will be interesting, and of course I'll be heading up as well. This will be my first time going to Suncorp Stadium outside of Magic Round. Should be a lot of fun. But anyways, let's go for the team list. Jack Bostock is out with an ACL, so Junior Tupou comes into his first game since round 2. Josh Kerr's been recalled to the bench after last week's debutant Albix Talha drops to the reserves. I think I said that correctly. And as for my boys, Campbell Graham, back injury, and Cody Walker-Groig return into their respective roles. So Jack Whiten moves back to the centres, Ewan Aiken back to the back row. Peter Mumsell has been named to return from an elbow injury, and James Sullivan's listed among the reserves. So Peter is jersey 14, Jaden Sullivan is number 20, Liam LeBonc and Ryan Gray drop out, and Isaiah Tass drops to 18th man. Arguably, this is our strongest side we have named this year since round one. How do we think we'll go on this one? I mean, it's against the Dolphins. They lost to the Knights last week. Dolphins will be looking out to play big in this game, and so are we. If we can play like that like we did against the Storm, I reckon we're a good shot in this game. But obviously, as always, I'm going to back my boys. Rabbitohs to win by, let's go by 8. First try scorer comes from the Dolphins, however. I reckon Herbie Farmworth goes over first. Anytime try scorers, we will go Mark Nichols. I reckon he will get a try against his former club. And we'll also go AJ, and we'll go Campbell Graham as well. AJ scored 4 tries last week, only 6 tries away from breaking that all-time try scoring record. Let's bloody go. And hopefully he can bag a double or 2, or even a hat trick as well. Great stuff from AJ. So close to getting that record. Rabbitohs to win, 1-12, and of course, I will be there as well. Should be a lot of fun. And our ref for this game is Todd Smith. At least it's not Peter Guff, thankfully. But anyways, let's go to our next games. Super Sunday now, or Sunday ticket. First game kicking off from 2 p.m. from Amy Park. We have the Melbourne Storm against the Cronulla Sharks. Last week, the Sharks collapsing to the Broncos 28-12 and then losing 34 points to 28. And as for Melbourne, well, they won a very controversial game against the Rabbitohs last week. 25-24 in Golden Point from a Ryan Paffenhauser field goal. I was fine with Melbourne's performance. It's just the ref call was the one that was more annoying of. But Melbourne went out 12-0 against the Bunnies, and they didn't score until like the 60th minute in the second half, which that's ridiculous. I thought they would go away and destroy us, and clearly they didn't. But anyways, let's go through the team list for this one. And Ashley Klein is the referee for this game. Xavier Coates returns after being rested. Gray Anderson shifts to the centres in place of Jack Howard illness. Stefano Yukamanu and Trent Leo return to the starting side after coming off the bench last week. Oregon Kafisi returns. Nissa Sharks returns after being laid out with a hamstring injury. So Brady Halmueli reverts to the bench, and Hapia Peru drops out. Now, a few weeks ago, the Sharks did beat the Storm. 31-26, I believe the score was. And Sharks went out to a 25-6 lead. But this is in Melbourne this time. Melbourne have not lost in Melbourne at all this year. So good luck, Sharkies. But I'm going to back Melbourne to win this one. Melbourne to win by 1-12 points. But Melbourne to win by 10. First try scorer will go Ryan Paffenhausen. Anytime try scorers will go Folongo, and we'll also go Ronaldo Molitello to score. So Melbourne to win, 1-12. And now let's move into our final game of round 17. Kicking off at 4:05 p.m, we have a Queensland Derby. This will be the second time these two have played from Cbus Super Stadium. We have the Titans taking on the Cowboys. Now, last week, the Titans coming off a loss to the Eels, 36 points to 20. And they're the only team that remain in last, 2 points behind the rest of the comp at the moment. And as for the Cowboys, well, this was one of the worst tips I picked last week. And they lost to the Roosters. They only scored 8 points, and I think the score was 48 points to 8. Really disgusting stuff there from the Cowboys last week. Now let's go through the team list for both teams. So Tom Weaver takes over at halfback with Jaden Campbell, suffered a head knock. Skipper Tino Tino returns in the starting zone. Khalees Haas first to the bench alongside Jacob Alec, Isaac Salamalawi, and Mokuia Folawaka. For the Cowboys, Jake Clifford returns to 5'8", with Jackson Purdue to the centres and Braden Burns make way. Braden Burns, Ruben Cotter back on deck, but Jason Tolomolo remains sidelined. Kyle Lawton is out suspended, or Kyle O'Donnell and Thomas Duffy drop out. Now, this game is going to be arguably one of the worst games to watch, in my opinion. These two, especially the Cowboys, consistency has been lackluster for both teams this year. While the Cowboys have been better, their defense has been shit, and it's for the Titans, they can be said the same as well. But this is going to be an ugly game to watch. But for this one, this will be the last time I'm going to say this, but I will back the Cowboys. And if they lose this one, I'm not picking them for at least a couple of rounds. But for this one, Cowboys to win by 8 points. Cowboys to win by 24-16. First try scorer will go to Tom Dearden. And anytime try scorers, we will go Bo Fermor, and we'll also go Jamari Nano to score. So Cowboys to win 1-12. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to wrap up my tips for the round 17, 2025 tips of 2025 season. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you guys have enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and don't forget to comment down below what your tips are for round 17, or if you're watching this back as video, comment down below what your tips are for round 17. Good luck to your teams this week, and as well, don't forget, it is brain cancer round for this whole entire round. So if you're going to a game, make sure to pick up one of these if you haven't yet. But anyways, guys, good luck to your teams, except for the Dolphins. This week for the Rabbits is pretty much our last chance if we're going to make the 8, because if not, I'm going to have to cross this off to not make the 8. But anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe. See you all in the next one.